Some cars are created, but they become far more than machines. They are not just a way to move from one place to another. They tell the story of an era. They shape a culture, and even as the years pass, they are never forgotten. Toyota Supra. A name that doesn't simply exist in memory. It echoes. In this video, we won't just look at the numbers on paper. We won't just talk about horsepower or specifications. We will explore how a legend was born, how it evolved, how it grew stronger, and how it managed to protect its name, all the way to the present day. From 1978 to today. This is more than a timeline. This is a story. If you're ready, let's begin. Late 1970s. The world was changing. In the aftermath of the oil crisis, the golden age of performance cars was beginning to tremble. Toyota was already present in the sports car market with the Celica, but inside the minds of Japanese engineers, there was another idea. Something stronger, more refined, a machine that would ignite emotion, a car built for pure driving pleasure. And in 1978, the Toyota Supra was born. At first glance, it looked like a longer Celica, but beneath the surface, something important had changed. Under the hood, there were no longer 4 cylinders, there were 6. A 2.6-liter inline-6 engine, smoother, more powerful, more intoxicating. For the first time, the name Supra appeared. It wasn't fully independent yet. It hadn't found its complete identity. But one thing was certain. The arrival of this machine, one that would later become a cornerstone of automotive history, would not go unnoticed. '81 marked the second step forward, and Supra was beginning to form its true identity. Sharp, aggressive, unmistakably bold, pop-up headlights, wide fenders. This was no longer just a Celica. Toyota's engineers were determined to refine this purebred machine. Independent rear suspension. A change that may sound simple, but together with the power delivered to the road, it would completely redefine the feeling of driving. The Supra was no longer a car built only for straight-line speed. Like a samurai wielding his sword as an extension of his own body. Drivers climbing the foothills of Mount Fuji were no longer holding a steering wheel. They were wearing the car like a glove. In Europe and America, automotive enthusiasts had become the new target. The Supra was evolving, but the real revolution had not yet arrived. Toyota was ready for a revolution, and this time they were confident. The Supra was no longer tied to the Celica. It stepped out on its own, an independent model. And right here, the foundations of a true revolution were laid. Beneath the hood sat a 3.0-liter inline-6 engine, but it needed something more, something almost magical. And then, Turbo, the 7M GTE. This engine carried the Supra into an entirely new league. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in around 6 seconds, officially limited in accordance with Japanese regulations. But speed was never the real story. Durability was. This engine could withstand serious boost pressure. It was built to endure, and once it left the factory floor, its journey was only beginning. The Supra was rising steadily through the ranks of street racing culture. Midnight runs, garage-built projects, bigger turbos, higher boost. The foundation of a legend was arriving like a storm. But in 1993, we realized something. The engineers who created this machine hadn't fired their last bullet yet. In 1993, the A80 Supra was unveiled, and with it came the engine that would echo through generations. The two JZ 3 liters, twin turbochargers, inline 6, officially rated at 276 horsepower in Japan, a number written on paper to comply with industry agreements. But everyone knew that number was only part of the story. The truth? It made enthusiasts smile and gave law enforcement a reason to worry. On a completely stock internal setup, this engine could handle well over 600 horsepower, and when pushed, it didn't just accelerate, it tore into the asphalt. Cast iron block, overbuilt internals, relentless strength. This wasn't an engine designed with limits in mind. It was built to erase them. The Supra was no longer just a car. It became a symbol, a childhood poster, a young driver's ultimate dream. Soon, it was crowned the holy grail of the tuning world. And then, Fast and furious, the orange Mk4. That scene, that sound, that dialogue. Overnight, the Supra transformed from a machine respected by purists into a global icon. But in 2002, production stopped and silence followed. After 2002, there was no Supra. It felt like the end of a chapter, a quiet, melancholic ending. But why? Stricter emission regulations, declining demand for sports cars, economic pressure, rising production costs, and shrinking purchasing power. Toyota faced a difficult reality, and they chose necessity over nostalgia. But the fans never let go. Online forums kept the name alive. Car meets, auto shows, YouTube tributes, drag strips echoing with turbo screams. Stories passed down from fathers to sons. One question lingered in every conversation: would the Supra ever return? And then, in 2019, the answer came. In 2019, the A90 Supra was revealed, but this time, things were different. Toyota partnered with BMW. For some, it was a disappointment. For others, it felt like the warm greeting of an old friend returning home. But one thing was undeniable. 2002 had marked the end of an era. And 2019, whether loved or criticized, marked the beginning of a new one. At the heart of the A90, the B58 engine, 3 liters, turbocharged, around 340 horsepower. At first, the criticism was loud. Is this a real Supra? But once the test drives began, the narrative started to change. The chassis balance, exceptional. The weight distribution, nearly perfect. The driving feel, pure, and perhaps most importantly, the manual transmission returned. The Supra was no longer trying to relive the past. It had become something else. A bridge, connecting legacy and modern engineering. A machine carrying history, while embracing the future. The story of the Supra teaches us something important. What makes a car legendary is not horsepower, not torque figures, not aerodynamic coefficients. It's the moments that stay with us, the timeless feelings those moments create. Timing, durability, cultural impact, and above all, passion. Born in 1978, dominated the 1990s, became a legend in the 2000s, and returned in 2019. Now the question is, which one is the real Supra, the Mk4 or the new generation? Let me know in the comments, because some names never fade away. Supra is one of them.